everybody! Welcome to the Badger Den. Yeah, I know I've been gone for a week. Guess what? This didn't pay anything, so every once in a while I gotta go on business trips and, vacation. So, well, tell you what, whenever all 20 of you guys get together and you're like, hey, you need to let us know you're leaving for a bit, I'll start letting you know. But otherwise, I will continue to try to post daily. So forgive me for being gone a week. I know a lot's happened in the past week. There are some major stories breaking. But I think there's a bigger thing that are not being focused on. Because again, you can get news anywhere. Here, you're coming to get a bit of a deeper dive. So let me do that for you. Right now, we've got proof that Democrats are dumb. And I do mean Democrats of all shapes, sizes, creeds, whatnot. We've got the Democrat leadership showing how dumb they are. And the Dems themselves, specifically Gen Z and women, how dumb they are. Yes, I'm sorry if you're a Democrat, liberal, white woman, you're dumb. And I have proof. Why do we allow this? It's a great question. Why do we allow it? Because people are dumb, and frankly, we've allowed women to vote. That's pretty much the basis of it. And who supports it? Well, I've already let the cat out of the bag. Woke, white women, beta male cucks, and illegals, and a chunk of minorities. That's who supports this nasty stuff. Why is it nasty? Allow me to elucidate you. How can Pritzker be this dumb? So Pritzker goes on and complains about how Trump is declaring war on Chicago. Come on, guys. This is Trump. We know it's hyperbole. We know he's talking about sending in the National Guard. We know it's about shutting down the crime that's been happening. I believe last I checked, there's something like 2,000 arrests in D.C. D.C. has shown the stoppage of pretty much all violent crime for the last month. It's amazing. But yet, for some reason, that's a bad thing. Why is it a bad thing? Come on. Who wants to say it? Who wants to say it? No? No takers? Okay, fine then. Now they're saying, Pritzker and others, and the Democrats are saying that Trump is doing this because he is basically trying to hurt the ballot box. So, explain this to me. Either Trump is doing one of two things. Either he's basically going to codify the elections and make sure the elections are done peacefully, without double counting, without the pollsters being kicked out who are conservative or Republican pollsters and not allowing them to view the counts. Like, explain that to me. So he's going to keep the National Guard in there until they're actually elections? Or are you saying the quiet part out loud that Trump is going to be rounding up all the illegals who vote in these blue sanctuary districts and basically dilute my vote and take away my voting ability? That's what he's doing. He's basically going to be rounding up these illegals. Pritzker and others openly know that's what he's doing, and it makes them scared. Because Democrats can only win if they win by either giving away my money or having illegals vote. Want more proof? Here we go. Duckworth. Trump is using military against drug smuggling, narco terrorists, setting conditions for occupying U.S. cities to interfere in the next election. Okay, I'm going to try that one more time. I had to read that fast because that hurts my brain. Trump is using the military against drug smuggling, narco terrorists, so she's admitting these are narco terrorists that Trump is attacking in Venezuela, is setting up the conditions for occupying U.S. cities to interfere in the next election. What the F are you talking about? How is that going to interfere in the elections? How is it? Let me guess. You're terrified Trump is going to use the National Guard to root out criminality, arrest narco terrorists in our own cities that you guys are covering for, and that's going to prevent you from winning your election. I can see all the rainbow hairs going on and off right now, being like, but they're not voting. They're not voting. Okay, settle down. Settle down. Allow me to show you that they are voting. I know for a fact, I know several illegals who are voting. Why are you worried about the election? And illegals aren't voting, right? That's what we just went over a moment ago. They're not voting. They're not voting. They cannot vote in federal elections. Yeah, but they can apparently hold jobs. They can apparently hold jobs. And if they can hold jobs and get a bank account, what do you think they're going to be able to do? They're going to get able to driver's license, and that driver's license is going to get them to be able to what? Vote in our federal elections. Because guess what? They're not validating whether or not somebody is a legal person. That is happening in North Carolina, and North Carolina is a purple state. So if it's happening in purple states, we know it's happening in blue states. That's right. Illegals, by the law of translation, they are voting. Illegals are voting in our elections. They are getting driver's license here in North Carolina. They're getting driver's license in California, and they're registering to vote, and they are voting. Case in point, 450 unlawful aliens working in Bryan County, Georgia. Wow. This Biden-era battery, I think it's a Hyundai mega site battery plant, basically propped up by the Biden administration, set up here, was supposed to be using American labor. Instead, they imported a bunch of illegals from South Korea, in order to work there. Not just South Koreans, but other illegals. The whole batch of 450, only about 350 were South Koreans. The rest of them were other illegals. In our own Purdue, Tyson, where are you guys? Where are you guys? Yeah, I hope they come for you next, because was it Tyson that was like, yeah, we've got 40,000 illegals working and we don't care? Trump, I hope you're listening. No, he's not. South Korea makes a deal with the U.S. to release the detained Georgia plant workers. 300, I believe it's closer to 350 South Koreans in an immigration enforcement operation on September 4th. So again, let me break this down for you slow folks in the back. Illegals are driving on our roads. So they're going to these blue states, these blue cities, including North Carolina, purple, and they're being able to apply for driver's licenses. They then take these to the voter registration, and the voter registration is like, yep, you got a driver's license. You can vote in our federal elections even though you're not supposed to. So all you rainbow hairs that are screaming right now that no, they're not doing this, prove me wrong. Because I know for a fact several illegals who are voting here in North Carolina. So, suck it. And the illegals cause more wrecks, 11 times more wrecks, because they don't care about our laws. They don't care about us. They cause more deaths, 3 times as many deaths. And all this adds up to way more cost that we're paying for. Because again, they don't have insurance, do they? Yeah. Well, white woke women, beta cucks, and minorities who are dumb. All of them. They're all dumb. Not only are the Democratic leadership dumb, basically letting the cat out of the bag, that they know that when Trump rounds up people in these sanctuary cities and policy districts, that he is basically taking the Democratic voter base. Not only that, when that census goes through and doesn't count those illegals, guess what? We're going to fix where all these blue states have way too many representatives, because those representatives are not representing American citizens, are they? No, they're not. Gen Z, Harris voters reject traditional values. Wow. What a surprise. Is that a shocker? I mean, is this really a shocker? I mean, those folks over there, they think that you can switch genders. No, you can't. You can't do it. You can't. Every single chromosome will tell you you're either XY or you're XX. Don't go in the intersex stuff with me. You're not going to win. An exception does not prove a rule. No. The exception proves the rule. Normal. Women who voted for Kamala Harris are abandoning traditional American values at an alarming rate. No surprise. But here's the kicker. Everybody and their mother were saying that Gen Z is the most base generation in a century. Are you really believing that? You're believing what the media is telling you? Well, here's the cat out of the bag. The media's done a survey, and it's a fantastic survey. 30,000 adults reveal what many conservatives long suspected. The poll surveyed nearly 3,000 Gen Z. For some reason, when they released this information, I could only get the Gen Z information, and that's all that we want to focus on, because they're the ones that are going to be basically controlling elections here in the future, unfortunately. And what it shows is that there is a dichotomy between the men and women in Gen Z, which is a good thing. Hopefully the men can bring the women along until they turn into cucks, and then the women will grab them by their scrotum and basically lead them down the hellhole of socialism. like, the men, what we know is they promoted family values, faith, and financial independence, and including having children as a marker of success. And you basically get the complete reverse of that. You ready for it? You ready for it? All right. So this is Trump approval among Gen Z regarding issues. And this is a proof that they're dumb. They're absolutely dumb. These women, 24, 21, 23, 21% are all basically saying that Trump doesn't know what they're doing. Beside the fact that we have zero illegal immigration coming in, besides the fact that tariffs are working, besides the fact that there's no inflation, besides the fact there's no inflation, marginally compared to what was happening in Biden, we're still very low. So what's going on? What's going on? Explain this to me right here. You people, explain this to me. Where is he screwing up? You can't do it because he isn't. You guys are so deluded that you literally live in your own bubble and you ignore all the evidence around you. Oh, and who did this poll? It was NBC. So it wasn't some right-wing group. These people are literally your bread and butter. So come on, rainbow hair, explain it to me. Now, are you ready for this? This is going to blow your mind, and I am excited for it. This is going to get deep. This is going to get serious, and unfortunately, I have no good news for you today. This is a serious Monday. We're going to start calling Mondays Serious Mondays. So here's what we got. We've got our dichotomy right here. We've got the conservatives on the right, the liberal fascists on the left. Number one, males. Look at this. Who voted for Trump wanted to have children. Some of those people are grounded and based. Good on you, men. Good on you. There's hope for you Gen Z men yet. You beta cucks over here. Look at this. Your number one thing on the female side, having a job or career you find fulfilling. So let me get this straight. The men who are conservative say, no, I want a legacy. The men on the left and the women on the left say, no, I want to work for a company that's going to give me a number and fire me tomorrow if I don't perform the way they want me to. You people are insane. You're not just dumb, you're insane. Having enough money to do the things you want to do. That's okay. I want to pull this out right here for the women on the right who voted for Trump. I don't know why you're saying this up here compared to children. We've got a lot of work to do on the right. Having children is less important than having a career you find fulfilling. Calling out you conservative women, supposed conservative women. No, you have a magical ability to generate a new life. Nourish it. Birth it. And you think having a career is more important than that? No wonder the West is dying, because you conservative women who are going to be the bastions of values for the future generation aren't having children. Prove me wrong. All right. Now, looking back on the left, they rate number 3 on both sides and 4, having emotional stability. They believe that it's very important to be emotionally stable, even though the majority of mental illness comes from the left. Trent says what? I'm sorry. If we look on the other side over here, they have emotional stability all the way down here. Why? Because everybody's going to have bad days. It's going to suck. You're going to have ups and downs, but that is part of life. Get over yourself. Life sucks. And I'm sorry, all you leftoids out there were never told by mommy and daddy, well, a lot of you didn't have daddies, that you are going to have a hard time. Life is supposed to be hard. So all you're really wanting is money and a little safe space so you feel good. And you can see down here, they really don't care about having children. Neither one of them do. The only good thing about this whole thing is that none of them think fame and influence is important. That's the only good thing out of this entire group that we can all agree with, that fame and influence sucks. So all of you actors out there, all of you influencers, yeah, you're not very high on the priority, which is fantastic. That's the only silver lining out of this whole thing. But, I mean, conservative women, what's wrong with you? And liberals, I mean, you basically just played yourself. You played yourself, boys. You basically show that you're selfish, you want to make money and you want to buy stuff, and you're self-centered because you do not want kids and you want a career that fulfills you in emotional stability that nobody can provide, because emotional stability comes from within. Yeah. Or you could get religion. That could help too. But of course, that's out of the question for all you leftoids, because you're possessed more than likely. And again, guys, I always like to leave with a little bit of good news. I can't do it today. I can't do it. I heard about this story, and I was going to do a story on this because it was not getting a lot of publication, but it has now hit the mainstream. For those who have been living under a rock, this happened in Charlotte, North Carolina. Of course, none of you know this out of the 20 that follow me, but I used to live in Charlotte. My family used to live in Charlotte. We got out of Charlotte because it was turning into a hellhole, because the Democrats have just completely taken control over it. And in fact, they promoted DEI so badly over 10 years ago that if you're a white person going downtown during the black, they have like a black specifically only basketball thing, and you were out roaming the streets then, you would literally get kicked out of restaurants. You're not allowed to enter restaurants for being white. No joke. And it wasn't just for whites, it was also for Asians as well. You couldn't go into a literal establishment if you were white. Don't believe me? I have the receipts. The point, regardless, is that this has gotten so bad in Charlotte. And Charlotte's not on the map for being a woke city, but it is. And it's not on the map for being a horrible city, but it is. I went to Charlotte just this year, and had to escort 2 full-grown men to their cars because they were terrified of the vagrants, gang members, and violent offenders that roam the streets. They literally had to have another man walk them to their car. And these weren't some whiny babies. They were legit men who had a concern, that knew that they didn't know how to fight or handle themselves, and they knew that I did. Not trying to brag here, just pointing out the fact that full-grown men did not feel comfortable walking down in Charlotte. And you've got a young woman here who also was probably woke. Unfortunately, some of the stuff that's leaking out in the media, regardless, that does not give anyone the right to stab her in the back like a coward on a train. And the sad thing is, I do not recommend anybody going and seeing this. You basically are seeing the worst part of it right here. It gets even worse because guess what? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. So all you woke liberals, this is what you're breeding. This is what you're doing. This is the type of scenarios you're putting yourself in, and a lot of you are white women, and you're going out in the public thinking everything's fine. You think you'd rather be in the woods with a bear than have a patriarchy society that actually implements laws, just laws, and arrest the criminals. You would rather use some sort of race card and say, no, we do not need, we want, what was it, a cab, defund the police. That's what you guys are all holding the signs for. This is what you're going to get. This is the whirlwind you're going to reap. And unfortunately, this young woman has paid the price for your policies. This young woman had her life cut short because you allowed this maniac, who had been arrested between 13 and 14 times for violent offenses, was allowed to continue to peruse out on the street with everybody else. And eventually they crack, they do something nutbag, and he did. And nobody batted an eyelid. I believe it took almost a minute and a half for somebody to go check on her. A minute and a half. Nobody stood up to defend her because, again, no masculinity, no strong man is allowed to help a woman anymore. You don't want a Daniel Penny jumping up and attacking this black man, and this Daniel Penny then to be accused of being racist for attacking a black man who obviously just stabbed a woman, because that would be racist, right? That would be racist. You people are nuts. You're dumb and you're nuts. Sorry, guys. I've got no good news for you today. All I can do is warn you that this is going to get worse. This is just the beginning, unless the Democrats are voted out, or we sit back and we realize that Trump is right. We need to kick out all the illegals. We need to start enforcing the law, and we need to get back to our Christian roots. Mouthy, signing off.